Sorry, Facebook, it's been a little bit longer than I said my next video was going to be, but unfortunately, it's getting close to Christmas time and a lot of people are shipping stuff. And, well, it took forever to get the paint in. I'm still waiting for the second one. I have the paint for the compressor housings. The exhaust housing is going to be here tomorrow because USPS sucks, and that's the only way I could get it shipped. So, we are going to do the compressor housings today and the exhaust housings tomorrow, but I'm all going to make it one video, so it's all going to seem the same to you. So we're going to go over the painting process. A lot of you probably aren't going to do this, so this may not be an important video for you, but if you want to see how it works, you can watch anyways. Now, first thing we're going to need to do it, because we already have them apart, if you're even going to be this far, you may not even be doing any part of this. You may just be in for the swapping part. We're going to be cleaning it. I got this from another YouTuber. Coffee filters are great because they are 100% lint-free or pretty damn close, and they're dirt cheap versus these bastards, which are expensive and leave quite a bit of lint. So, a little bit of brake cleaner. Spray them on here. Make sure to clean all these surfy teeth off and get all the grease and oil and everything that may be on there. Now for the exhaust side, you have pretty nice, big, beefy surfaces to work in the area where you're going to be taping. So it's not that big of an issue. On the compressor side, which I'll show you here in a moment, you don't have as much room to work with, especially on a couple of the surfaces. So there's going to be a few different tapes I use to do this. And the reason I'll explain here in a moment. So I get, like I said, all the oil off from the manufacturing process. Now what I did for the compressor housing is I used ducting silver tape. It doesn't leave much of a residue, so it's easy to clean up. It's very strong. So I went ahead and I test blasted this guy and had a problem with the blue tape wanting to come off. You know, and then particles getting inside. And obviously we're going to clean these off when we're all done, but we want to keep as much of it out of there as possible. So I used it for the inlet side and also where the bung goes to output pressure for the system. Now for this side, I put a line of blue tape where I wanted it, then covered it, then another line of blue tape. Same for the inlet for the turbine. So you get a nice cover of everything, and then the silver tape. On this one, I actually put a little bit of duct tape just in case I hit it with the blaster while I'm going at it, because this is a lot more resilient, so I don't poke a hole in the sucker by accident. But same thing, aluminum tape, because this is a lot stronger than the blue painter's tape. And if I hit it on the corners, this is going to stay a lot better and not try to peel back. But when it comes to these guys, it's real simple to do. Like I said, get the oil off, and then you grab your painter's tape and you put it on, and you want to make sure you have a little bit of overhang. Grab a little bit more, make sure you have overhang, and you want to make sure that they're pretty flush because you want to be able to seal them up. And then from that point, you grab yourself a nice sharp razor blade or X-Acto knife, and you just follow along the profile. Now there's going to be a couple tricky areas where they got you know, a little bit more of an area you got to play with, or a little bit more of a design, but for the most part you just go in there, and if you miss a little bit like I did right there, you just come back, and because it's, you know, it's cast iron on these, a little more forgiving, but you just cut it off. And then there you go. Now I'm not going to do the whole thing because it's going to be boring watching me for 15 or 20 minutes tape this thing off, and it's not really something you need to watch a time lapse of, but it's pretty simple. You know, I'm pretty sure you guys can figure out how to do that. Make sure you get down there. If you want to, you can do it one way this way and another way that way if you really want to be extra precautious for taping it off, but it's pretty much the same thing. Like I said, go in there. Oops, I think I might need a sharper razor blade. You know, and just when you're all done, I'm just doing this for demonstration a little early. Bang, there you go. Cut it off. Oop, yeah, get that little guy right there. And it's perfectly fine. And then from that point, you'll be cleaned up, ready to blast. Now, you also got to look at the flapper arm on the outside. For this guy, what I'm probably going to do is just tape the arm, get it shot, sorry about that. Tape the arm off because I don't want any dust getting in here, and then roll some tape up on the sticky side and get it right in that, because I don't want to get dust inside where the, it's not really a bearing, but basically where the contact area is. I don't want nothing in there, but just tape that off as well. Like I said, because you don't want any dust and debris and stuff, and over time that guy going back and forth and prematurely wearing this arm out. So for that guy, you take a piece of tape, rip it in half, you know, and get down in there like that, wrap it around both sides just to make sure you don't get anything in there. But make sure you leave that area where you want to get it painted covered up pretty well. Okay, now we got our parts here in the sandblaster, but I'm going to time lapse this because it's going to be very noisy, and I don't think you guys want to hear a compressor and vacuum going for the next 10 minutes or so. So let's go ahead and cut to that. Now after cleaning it, there is some areas where some of the stuff got stuck on there. So you're going to want to clean that up, and you're going to want to use acetone for it. Now if you want to be cheap like me, if you go to Walmart, get this stuff, it is pure acetone. It's about $2 and some cents, unless you want to go out and buy the industrial acetone, which is also pure acetone, but costs 5 times as much money. So once again, coffee filters. Now when you're doing this, the second you pull it out, you got to have gloves on. You can't touch it with your bare hands, because the oil from your hands will get into the extremely porous part and will screw it up. So if we look for any area in here that looks like it's slightly darker, and you need to go in and clean it up. Like I have a little bit of area in here where it's got a little bit of the bead stick, and a little bit up here. I don't have, those aren't brand new beads, so it's got a little bit of rust in there that may have transferred with. So just go in, clean it up, you know, wipe the whole part down. As you can tell, I'm getting a little bit off. So just clean everything up nice and good. The part where you have your bung for pressure, that can actually get peeled off and a new one put on, because that's the weakest point. You can tell mine popped out. I'll redo that with tape. I'll do that off camera though. But just go through and said wipe the whole part down. I'm going to grab a fresh one, so I don't want to keep wiping the same contaminants around all over the part. There we go. Nice fresh coffee filter. Fresh from the mountains of awesome Turboville, Colombia. There we go. Look for any contaminants. Like I said, there's a little bit there. You want to get that off and just clean, 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 clean. Now remember, what makes the difference between a good job and a great job is the prep work. So this is one of those times here where you want to take your time and do it right. If you have enough acetone where you can just soak this whole son bitch in there, go for it. Unfortunately, I don't, because acetone is expensive. I have a parts cleaner, but that's mineral spirits and gasoline and Lord knows what other kind of grease and goop and stuff from other parts that I don't want to transfer to this one. So we're going to keep going at this, but once again, I don't want you guys to stare at me doing this for 20 minutes, so we're going to go ahead and cut to the next part. Okay, now that we got our turbos cleaned up, I got them hung up on some welding wire. We are going to be using Cerakote ceramic series. This is the 111 tungsten. Now, this is only rated to 1200 degrees, so that's why we're going to be using it on the compressors, because they're not going to get quite as hot as the exhaust. The exhaust, I'm going to be using the 102. It's the Armor Black. That's rated to 2000 degrees Fahrenheit. I want to give it the best chance possible of this stuff working properly. Nice stuff about this is it is one part. You don't have to worry about mixing ratios or anything. You just give it a good shake, shake. Then you put it through a 100 ml filter, which it comes with. I didn't know that, so I bought a whole bunch. That's cool, that's cool. And I'm going to be spraying it because I don't want to have to waste a bunch on my HVPL gun. My little Harbor Freight sprayer here. It's pretty simple when it comes to spraying stuff. Do light coats, go around it. I'm probably going to do about 3 coats on these guys. I don't have a real good setup. I'm just shooting here in my garage. I will be wearing a approved respirator. This is a Miller respirator, gets rid of most stuff. It should be good enough for paint. I got cross flow going. I'm going to open up my back window plus my front window, turn on my ventilation system. So I should be good to go. Might get a little lightheaded. I probably should have went out and got a better respirator, because the only paint respirator I have right now I don't have any filters for. That's poor planning on my part. You guys should do better. But I'm going to put down a layer, wait a couple minutes for it to start tacky, because this stuff dries pretty quickly. Put down another layer, wait a few minutes tacky, put it up, and we're going to come back and see how the tungsten looks on aluminum for these turrets. Okay, as always when working with Cerakote, clean all your equipment thoroughly with acetone. I got the flash on now, sorry the fan's going, trying to evacuate all the stinkiness. But I do love Cerakote. This stuff, even though I went wet coat after wet coat, has no running issues whatsoever. This is what the tungsten looks like. Now it's nice and shiny now. It will dull out a bit after it finished drying, but that looks freaking beautiful. This will also, like I said, keep some of the heat out, so will help slightly, very slightly, minimally, not a whole lot, but I did it anyways, with keeping the inlet air temp down. Well, not the inlet air temp, but the air temp going in. Plus, man, look at that. Look at that. That is some sexy turbo compressor housings, yeah. Even got the little Rotomaster, looks like an R for racing. Racing! No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so we got that done, and when I get the Armor Black in tomorrow, we will get that, and we'll get those guys going so we can get these guys finished. Alright, YouTube, ended up yesterday. We finished Cerakoting the compressor housings. I have finished taping off the exhaust side. I'll kind of show you what I did with the arms here. What I did is I took tape, took the about 1-inch roll here, and I cut it in half. Then I wrapped it around here. I did it twice. Then I put a piece over top and then wrapped the side here. Now the cool part is I can still move it, so that way I can spray down here, move it down, spray up here. So I can move the arm, but it's going to keep any of the debris or paint from getting inside of the bearing surfaces or the rollers, whatever the surface is called in here. Honestly, I'm having a brain fart. It's been a while since I've been in school for this. It should be the contact surface if I remember correctly, but you don't want anything to get in there because it constantly moving back and forth. It can jam this arm up, causing it to lock up, or it can prematurely wear out the insert here that goes between the arm, causing gas to escape. You don't want that to happen. So make sure you, because there's the actual insert comes out a little bit and then the arm goes in, so make sure you get that cleaned up nice and tight. Put some tape on there, don't want to mess up. This guy is not too much of an issue. If that gets paint on it and everything, that's not a big deal. So we got all 3 of the surfaces taped off nice and clean. Now we're going to take it over to the blaster and brash the crap out of it. Alright, now with cast iron, it is obviously going to be harder than aluminum is. So you're going to have to spend a little bit more time working with it. So just be careful, try not to knock the tape edges off. When you do shoot the tape edges, try to come at an angle on them and not try to shoot directly at the side of them, or you will push back. You're going to get a little bit of the blast media inside of it, so that's going to happen. Just be careful not to get as little as possible. But let's go ahead and cut to the hyperfeed. Okay, got the exhaust sides all cleaned up. Made sure to take my time, go through and get off all the scale and everything. When you're done, go back, double check them. Make sure you got it down nice and gray. She cleaned up well. I was careful when I was saying you go at it, instead of hitting it like this, make sure to get it at least kind of a 45 or 90 degree angle, so you don't pull up the tape as much as you can. The tape held really well. Like I said, that's why you take the time to clean the surfaces so the tape sticks really well to it. As you can tell, the tape held on pretty good. You're able to move the arms, get into all the little bowl areas and surface areas and everything. So now you can see all the little imperfections in it. But now I'm going to take the time and grab my trusty acetone and some coffee filters, and I'm going to go through and clean the heck out of these guys to make sure that I get all the contaminants I can off them. Then from that point, I don't know if I'm going to be able to hang them because these guys are kind of heavy. I'm going to see what I can't do. If not, I might just leave them like this and put up some cardboard or something and shoot them in place, because I think I'll be able to do that with this, because there are no surfaces on the bottom that need to be painted. I just got to make sure when I'm done, I transfer them to an area with some hooks that doesn't have paint so they don't stick to the surface. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and clean these up just like the last ones. All right, so I decided to paint these in place. Today we're going to be using the Cerakote C102 Armor Black. This is good to 2000 degrees Fahrenheit. As usual, I'm going to be using my handy dandy Harbor Freight little pen here. I don't want to waste it because this stuff is like 50 bucks for this little teeny bottle. You have to put it through a 100 ml strainer, as you had to with the tungsten. So my dog's in the background. So I'm going to go ahead, get this shaky shaked up, go ahead and get strained out, get it in, and we will start the hyperlapse. Cerakote. Well, there we go. Got them all painted up. I took off the tape on the having a brain fart impeller side and the exhaust side. I don't have the outlet side. The paint's still on there because I transferred it to a better piece so it doesn't have paint drying to it. But I got all in the tight spots. It requires about 0.02 of product to be able to function properly. I put 3 coats on it just like I did on the cold side. So it looks like everything came out nice. It's gloss now, but when it dries, it's going to become more of a matte, just like the cold side did, which I'll show those in the next video. But they came out pretty good. Tape came off pretty clean. There is small little pieces right there, but if you want to, when you take the tape off, you just take a razor blade when it's still kind of soft. Well, actually, it's on there pretty good. Cerakote is some tough stuff. It does not come off easily. There's some videos, if you want to research it, where people put it on their old pistons to test it, and then nailed it with a punch and a hammer, and it just dented right with the aluminum, didn't flake off. You know, they did a heat comparison test. There was one company that took Cerakoted piston, which is the same temperature as this, heated it with a oxyacetylene torch. One side was, gosh, what is it? I can't remember. It was in Celsius, but there was a difference in temperature of like 800 degrees Celsius. But yeah, this stuff works pretty good. So hopefully it helps keep some of my under hood temperatures going well. And as we all know, the more heat you keep in the exhaust, the more efficient it works. So if I can keep some of the heat in the turbo pushing through the exhaust, hopefully these work slightly more efficiently. I'm also going to be wrapping my downpipes, which will be covered also in a further video. So for now, we have covered how to Cerakote your turbos. I know some of you are going to be saying, hey, you're supposed to put your parts into an oven and you're supposed to bake out some of the impurities. I know this. I don't have an oven for that. These are new parts. So hopefully they hold up well. Like I said, with putting them through cleaning out the acetone, or you clean with acetone and sandblasting them, I'm pretty sure I got most all of it out. I really don't think that I'm going to be having any issues. If I do, then I will cover that in a future video. So for now, this is Not So Slim Jim. Leave your questions, comments, or concerns in the comment section.